Ending great Bernie Parent and Paul Jolovitz.
And welcome everybody to the beautiful outside foyer, which is new here at the beautiful Chickies and Pete's in Warrington on Route 611. You're listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, and seen live on YouTube at WBCB Sports. I'm Paul Jolovitz, my co-host. We call him the GOAT, Mr. Bernard Marcel Parent, won 2 Conn Smythes, which is only 2 more than I've won. How are you, buddy?
No, keep talking. It sounds good. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good.
Yes.
Our guest is a little bit delayed. There's a problem on the Pennsylvania Turnpike with an accident, and he had to go another way, as did I. Terry Carkner will be here in a couple minutes. He's our guest, Flyers defenseman. Season has started, Mr. Parent. What are your first impressions after 3 road games of a 4-game Western road trip?
Well, you know what? They have a good team. I like the coach, Tortorella, and I like him. He's a great, he's a great coach.
Yep.
And he has a good young team, and he has great vision, and I think he's going to do great stuff here.
Like John Tortorella, his 3rd year, got a very young team, much improved on the power play. We'll talk about that with a couple young studs and a couple guys like Owen Tippett. A bunch of good young players. Travis Konechny, of course. I like the way they're built. I like everything about this team. They got defense. They're building it up with Cam York and Travis Sanheim, Tyson Forster on offense. They're building a nice team, Bernie. I mean, home opener against Vancouver. Flyers play tomorrow night in Seattle against the Kraken, final game of the road trip. And then the home opener against Rick Tocchet's Vancouver Canucks on Saturday, as we're joined by Mr. Carkner. He'll be here in just a second. What do you think of this? You going to the home opener?
No.
Your wife says yes, you say
Yes.
no. Do we have a problem?
Oh, I thought you said that I go to the opener.
No, are you going to the home opener?
Oh, yeah, of course. All
right,
sure.
I'll be there on Saturday night. As Mr. Carkner is here, Terry Carkner. How did the turnpike traffic work out, Terry?
Gentlemen, good to be here.
Traffic, you successfully navigated the traffic problems?
Yep.
With Waze. How good would Waze have been, Terry, on the ice? Tell you where to go, who's about to hit you, where the puck is, where the goaltender is. Do we need an ice Waze?
I think it's when you're thinking too much, it's not going to work. So maybe it's better that I didn't have Waze.
It's an interesting comment, Bernie. I mean, made off the cuff, obviously, but thinking. How much does a goalie need to think? I wouldn't think you need to think that much at all, right?
Well, here's quickly. One way to think is you have your defenseman, and you have a right-hand shot, okay, coming down, and if you tell your defenseman concentrate on the human being. Now, there's
on a human being? They're all human beings, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. They on the man, then more likely the shot will be on the glove side because that's where the opening is. If it's a left-hand shot, it's the same. It's the opposite. So you have to communicate this with your defenseman. Yeah, very important.
So you're thinking about that while you do it, or is that natural on the ice?
Well, you practice that, of course. You share this with your defenseman, so defenseman doesn't go for the puck as much as make sure that the man is covered. So the opening where the guy shoots will be on the glove side.
Terry, how important when you played with the Flyers in the 90s and the like, you played with a lot of partners, how important was communication with the goalie and you knowing what he's going to do most of the time and vice versa?
Well, it was always, you know what? Even
this question was to Terry.
Oh, Terry, I'm
gets to
sorry.
talk too,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, go ahead.
That's okay,
Terry.
Thanks, Bernie. You take all you want.
Listen, Terry's too big to get him frustrated. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I don't think you can overdo it. I think there was no amount of communication until you get to the point that you're yelling at each other. Then that would become counterproductive. But
you ever yell fake stuff? You ever Peyton Manning was talking the other night on Monday Night Football about signals that don't mean anything mixed in with ones that do, trying to confuse the defense. Obviously, hockey, you're in motion, but did you ever say stuff to fool the other team?
I once in a while you might know a guy's nickname if you played with him and played against a certain, but you knew you could try and call his name for a puck or something, but not very often that I was smart enough to figure that out.
How big was your nickname registry, Bernie? You know the whole league?
Yeah.
Shoot it, Skippy.
Go ahead.
No, this one's for you.
Yeah, it's for me.
Yeah, we'll have flashcards to note this. Yeah.
Frenchie.
Frenchie.
Yeah, Frenchie. Yeah. Come on, Frenchie. Play a good game. It's about time you play a good game. I heard that.
Well, we have a goalie now whose name is never going to be Frenchie because he's from Sweden, unless somebody gives him a strange nickname. Sam Erson, who last year obviously was overused because of the whole Carter Hart situation. This year he's worked in the summer getting ready for a long season as a number one. What do you think of Sam Erson, Bernie, and Ivan Fedotov, the other goalie from Russia? He's played one game already, but what do you think about Sam Erson and his capability of carrying the Flyers to the playoffs?
I think it's great. I think he's a good goalie, and he's going to be a great goalie. And he you know what? He does what I was talking a little bit about earlier, about visualizing, using his defenseman to his advantage, which is very important. Now, once you communicate this with your defenseman, then they know they don't have to worry about the goalies because they know what the goalie is doing in that situation. If it's a right-hand shot, he'll be on the left side. If it's a left-hand shot, we'll go on the stick side.
But other players knew that you thought this way, I would think, and they would try to fool you by saying, he thinks I'm a left-handed shot going to whatever side, and trying to fool you by going high, lower. Otherwise, you got to be ready for everything, right?
Oh yeah. If the guy changes his mind, I'm allowed to change my mind too.
You're allowed to change your mind too. Jeannie, your wife has said that. My wife has said that a couple million times. So we have the right to change our minds.
Yeah.
Terry, you've seen the Flyers all the first 3 games on the road trip. 1/27th of the season is now gone. A very young team. What's the biggest problem? You played, I'm sure, with younger teams, older teams. Other than experience, which is kind of the dull response, what are the biggest problems and things you look forward to playing with a very young team?
Yeah, there's no way around it. At those first 2 games that were back-to-back, those young guys will have never experienced that, being on the road and playing the first game of the NHL, and then the next night having to travel.
And Luchenko didn't play. Luchenko was scratched the second game. The 18-year-old Jet Luchenko. You think that's because Tortorella didn't want to play him quick back-to-back?
He might have been protecting him from trying to work into playing 2 games in a row. Or we never know the backstories of maybe a little injury or something like that. So, but there's no way these young guys are going to learn until they do it. You can tell them everything you want, but they won't know it until they've experienced it and gone through it. So that's just great that they can learn it at a young age and then they carry it with them for their career instead of learning it later on in life, or 28, 29, sure, and not learning it until later. So I think it's a good thing.
They say thrown in the fire, guys. And John Tortorella, Bernie, you're talking about his coaching style. Last night the Flyers played in Edmonton, lost in overtime, a real good game. Didn't quite get over the hump. Mishkov scored 2 goals. We'll talk about that in a little while. But Jet Luchenko, who's a center, whose asset is his speed, waited 3 games in his NHL career to be matched up against probably a top 5 player all time, the best player in the world, Connor McDavid. Terry was talking about learning early. That was quick little baptism by fire, huh?
Well, yeah, and you know what? Once you learn too at the beginning like this, you learn that you play and you win as a team. It's very important. If you try to do things on your own, it's not going to happen. But you got to play. You got to perform as a team. And once you do this, you learn this, then you come out and especially a guy like that with a lot of talent, you work as a team. Then you have 4 players behind you to back you up and to help you to accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's very, very, very 4 important.
4 if you're on the penalty kill. You have 5 if you're at even strength, don't you? Mm-hmm. Flyers were on the PK a lot. Didn't realize the Broad Street Bullies actually played from that mindset. Terry, how old were you when you came in the league?
I guess 20 years old until March of that year. So.
Excuse me. What was that? 2 years ago then, right?
2 years ago. Terry's 22 now?
Yeah. Let's not talk about that.
But you were 20, Terry. I mean, you're a big guy. I'm sure you were physical and you got to the NHL on talent. You didn't get there by accident. But still, when you get to the best league in the world and somebody blows around you as a defenseman, which is going to happen. Somebody hits you that first hit. Do you remember the first anything when you realized these are the best players in the world, this is the show, and then I'm not the best player on the ice anymore?
That is a really good question, and I wish I had a good answer for it. I cannot think of anything specifically at this point that my first training camp at 18 was obviously, I don't remember much of it because you're looking up to everybody around you and you're not sure what's going on. I was 4 or 5 years in the league and I still had guys walking around me one-on-one and, you're trying to live through it. So I don't remember anything specifically, but there's probably things that I've forgotten that were big learning curves,
But Bernie, you had a first year in the ice. You were 20, I guess, with Boston. Luchenko's 18. Michkov is 19. Michkov has been the best player on the ice his whole life. He's very good now. He's not the best player on the ice. Hopefully he'll be that in a short amount of time. But let me ask you first, Terry, and then Bernie. It's kind of the same question as before, but more direct. When you're the best player on the ice in juniors as a kid, drafted into the NHL, and then you're not, what does that do to your ego, to your psyche? Because that's one reason Luchenko can be up for 9 games, and they can send him back to juniors if they don't like what they're seeing. They want to give him more time.
Right.
He's got to be able to handle failure mentally. This is true with any 18-year-old kid. You're the best player ever, and now you're not. How hard is that to handle?
Well, you blame other people.
Blame them for what? Being better than you are?
Yeah, you blame the defenseman and the forwards.
Yep.
The
coaches made a mistake, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bernie, you played goalie when Benny Orr is skating on the right and left wing, and now Bobby Orr is coming, who can probably do a little bit more than Benny Orr. What's that like?
Well, Bobby Orr, quick little story I have to share with you.
Sure.
The first Stanley Cup we won, 1-0.
Yep.
Okay, there's 10 seconds to go in the game. The face-off is in their zone, right? And we're winning 1-0. We win the game. We win the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
And the linesman dropped the puck, and the puck went to Orr. And at the same time, I'm looking at the clock.
Why?
Okay. Well, just because there are only 10 seconds left, right? I'm looking at the clock, and he took a shot, a slap shot from way back there. And then I heard, bing! Behind me.
He hit
right?
the post?
No, he hit the boards behind me.
Oh.
And and my Lord, then Joe Watson, I'll never forget this, Joe Watson, hey, wake up, Frenchie, wake up, right? And finally Joe hesitated a little bit, then touched the puck, and then the game was over. But he could have scored.
Yes, he could have. Probably the best defenseman of all time.
I wouldn't be here today.
You might. You could have won 1 Stanley Cup. Who's the best defenseman you ever played with, Terry? Best partner or best player you played against?
Oh, I always say Mario was
defenseman.
Oh, defenseman.
Yep.
Larry Robinson was my idol as a kid, so playing against him was pretty cool. And then I don't know, Mark Howe was pretty damn good. I mean, I played with Coffey and Lidstrom and a few other really good defensemen, but Mark always impressed me.
That's pretty cool, though, when you say, because a lot of kids come up now, and, well, Gretzky's probably a generation back, so they didn't play with him, but Mario, same thing. But when a kid plays and watches his idol, and then a few years goes by and his idol's still playing, you come in the league, what's that like to hit Larry Robinson, somebody that you looked up to, or anybody else, or to be hit by that guy, or to make a play in some way? Do you kind of get awestruck for a second?
Oh yeah. I got sent off the bench in Quebec actually to get in a fight, and Robinson grabbed me and said, "You're not going anywhere." I mean, what was I going to do? Punch him in the head? There's no way I was doing that.
You were sent out to fight?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happens?
I probably shouldn't be saying this now. But is there a statutory thing, Bernie, that I can...
No, those
the league can't get me in trouble?
Those were good old days. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, there were a couple of fights last night in the game. Sean Couturier got into one. Joel Farabee got into one. Joel Farabee, who has played like 185 straight games. He's playing well early in the season for the Flyers. We're going to take a quick break. We're here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington, where they have $4 garage beers all day, every day. That's Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey's beer. $4 garage beers all day, every day here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington. You're listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, right here on 107.3 FM, 1490 WBCB, seen live at YouTube at WBCB Sports, and we are back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles. Our new menu includes our boneless wing special every Monday. Buy a single order of our mouth-watering boneless wings and get a snack order of boneless wings free. Every Tuesday and Wednesday, it's buy one, get one free snows. Buy any number of delectable snow crab legs and get the same amount free. Plus the Kelsey combo, tasty buffalo fried shrimp, seafood pasta in our famous Sicilian or red sauce. Participating locations for a limited time. Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Parent.
Alrighty, back here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington, where the manager Matthew and our server Mike and everybody makes it a pleasant experience for you to come in, get great crab fries, all kinds of great stuff. How about washing it down with $4 garage beer all day, every day, here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington on Eastern Road. It's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. This is another but Matvei Michkov, the 19-year-old from Russia, drafted 7th last year, came over, scored his first 2 goals in the NHL, 2 power play goals last night. That's another story we'll be talking about later on. And Matvei Michkov is our Player of the Week. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless. So Matvei Michkov, guys, Bernie, Terry, I'm sure you've both seen him, 19 years old. What you think so far?
Go ahead. Want me to say something?
You bet.
Ask the question again.
Tennis is such a great sport. John McEnroe's rackets are Matvei Michkov. You didn't have any Russians when you played, huh?
No.
Mr. Snyder had a little problem with that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So now there are, and he's a great player, and they got him over here, and he looks like he belongs, doesn't he?
Well, you know what? It's all. That's why I like the coach. You know, talk to Redla, and I like him because he has the ability to teach the young players, young players, which is very, very, very important, and really makes a big difference as you move on during the season. Yeah.
What do you teach a kid like this with all the ability in the world? What's the one thing, Bernie, that I don't care how much ability you have, that when you come into the NHL, somebody's got to say, watch out for such and such?
Well, you know what? With kid like this, if I would have been behind him, I'm sure the coach would have said, please, make the save. Don't wait for him to make the save. Make the save, yeah.
I'll tell you what, Terry, Michkov blocked a couple shots last night. You know, that's a skill that coaches obviously love, and there's more and more of it in the NHL. You did it a lot when you played. I'm not sure I'd want to dive in front of a puck going 100 miles an hour, but Michkov came back as a forward and blocked a few shots last night. It looks like he's a pretty complete player already, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, you could say it is, but the fact that he's playing against McDavid, he's probably amped up. He scores 2 goals in that game, and I think those special players do that type of stuff. So I think that's a great sign.
They sure do. And that brings to mind another thing, which is not fun to talk about, obviously, but last night, I don't know if you guys watched, I sure did. The Columbus Blue Jackets opened their home season ordinarily, so what, but not so what this year. Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matt, of course, from South Jersey, killed in a bike accident by a drunk driver in August, and the Blue Jackets really did it up. I mean, both teams, Bernie and Terry, wore Gaudreau 13 jerseys, both teams, not just the home team. That's a hell of a sign of respect, Terry, isn't it, for Johnny Gaudreau?
I never had a chance to meet either one of those boys. I can remember going to a Flyers game, playing the Calgary Flames, and I ended up watching Gaudreau, Johnny, the whole night because I thought he was so good. He was on the power play. He was controlling the puck. He was a really good player. And so that always stuck in my head. And that day really struck me as you don't get affected. You can't get affected by all the bad news in the world, but that really stuck with me. That tragic, crazy night that they must have had.
Bernie, I know you knew his father Guy, who was at Columbus's practice. John Tortorella's had him with the Flyers, obviously with the sister's wedding, both wives pregnant. Like every layer of horrible is on this. And last night they did the whole ceremony. They dropped the puck, 13 seconds for his number, ran off the clock and just stood there. I mean, the referees, everybody was into it. What were you affected? Did you see that last night? And I was crying. I'll admit it right away.
Of course, because just a little bit about 5 weeks ago, we had dinner with those two guys,
5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Right before they died?
Yeah, before, yeah.
Well, before,
yeah.
Not after. It's going to be hard.
And it was and then we went to the viewing, the whole bit. It was a very sad situation, especially when they're minding their own business, riding a bike and having a good time, and then something like this happened. It's just terrible. And psychologically, you learn something from this. Instead of putting things off all the time about doing things, whatever, do it, because you never know what life could bring,
That's for sure.
And that
you don't need to make me cry tonight. Okay, that's all right. Let's just.
Okay.
Great point. Great point.
I did get choked up when I saw the Florida defending Stanley Cup champions, and Tkachuk, who didn't play last night, wasn't at the game, injured. He had played with Johnny Gaudreau in Calgary, and when the visiting team, not the team that's doing the honoring, I won't say celebration, I guess of his life, when they were visiting the home jersey during their warm-ups. That was pretty cool. And Johnny Gaudreau and all kinds of other stuff around the NHL. On a better note last night, Terry, we had Philip Gustafson, originally and generally just the goalie for the Minnesota Wild on an average night, until he scored a goal last night, an empty netter, and became like third or fourth or fifth goalie to ever score a goal in an NHL game. You ever watch a goalie score a goal?
I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but somehow I missed that news last night.
Yep, Philip Gustafson lifted the puck. I mean, just like Hextall lifted it, went obviously down the ice, straight in the net.
Awesome. Good for him. Ever
see that in juniors, Bernie? You ever score a goal ever?
No, I was lucky if I reach a blue line. Yeah.
How good were you? It's interesting because goalies these days are much better with a stick
than
a lot of the guys when you played. How good were you with a stick?
Not good. Not good. I learned from Jacques Plante, from Montreal, and what I learned from him was more important than using the stick. For me at the time was to how to position myself, how to read the plays, how to read the players, if it's a right-hand shot or a left-hand shot, and anticipate where the shot will be going. Then catching, it was a beauty to watch him, how he shot, how he made that shot, and went all the way across the ice. I saw that. It was just incredible, but it wasn't. I couldn't do it. That's for sure.
All right, Terry. Let me ask you something along the same lines. You remember your career. You play dumb sometimes, but you're a smart guy. And you had a long career in the NHL. And you weren't known as a Bobby Orr type offensive defenseman, obviously, but you had to have a couple plays where you carried the puck the length of the ice. Do you remember your finest moment, the moment in which you were most proud that if your mom asked for one Terry Carkner highlight of your career, this is what you'd send her? What was that?
Stop asking me questions I can't answer. I thought we
You
had
had
that
to do
straight.
something, right? I didn't do anything in the NHL. You did. You did a lot.
Let me answer the question.
For Terry?
He did great in the Superbox.
Superbox?
Yeah.
Flyers?
Just
You ever carried...
I'm pretty good at having a beer and a hot dog after the game as an alumni, so yeah, that might be it.
You had to have one play where you carried it end-to-end and roofed it, didn't you? Something like that?
Yeah, we can pretend that happened. I got traded to the Flyers. It was my third year of the NHL, and we lost to Montreal in the semifinals there. So that was my first real experience at the playoffs, and I know my family enjoyed it, and it was a good, that was my introduction to playoff hockey, and I just loved it after that. Always wanted to be in the playoffs, so that was pretty cool.
Bernie, you obviously won 2 Conn Smythes. We hear all the time, when you played, there weren't playoff beards yet, although you have a little bit of a beard now. Playoff hockey, everybody goes, you play 110%, which is obviously mathematically impossible, but you do jack it up a little bit. Well, is there a difference? Can you feel the difference on the ice in a playoff game than a regular season game, even though you're supposedly giving it your all in a regular season game?
Of course. During the season, you play what? 82 games. You know what? In the playoffs, you lose 4 games, you're out.
Well, to the same team.
Yeah.
You lose 4 games.
So, it's a different approach. You really have to make things happen quickly. It's not like during the season you could pace yourself, but you can't. During the playoffs, you have to make it happen because it goes by fast, man.
Terry, different feeling for you?
No, that's well said. Yeah, it's very compact and distinct, the playoffs. It's so emotional, and then you're just win or lose. It's so easy to let it go away because you're getting ready for the next game.
Had the playoff beard started when you were playing?
I couldn't grow one very well, but yeah, we wouldn't shave. That was kind of the team motto, that you would just let your hair grow, and as long as you went.
Kind of for bonding, to show the togetherness of it?
Are you saying that in the 70s they didn't do that? Is
no,
that right,
I don't
Bernie?
think they did.
Oh, no.
Started in like Clark Gillies or something started in the 80s. I don't remember.
Late 90s or late 70s and 80s?
Yeah,
Is that when it kind of started? Okay.
Yep. I had playoff beards. No, I didn't. I don't even know what I'm going to make up at this point.
It's a shame you shaved it. Yeah.
I did, yeah. although, guys, I'm going to tell you again, and a lot of us that didn't play in the NHL can pull this card out, but I was never on a losing team in a playoff game either. Not a series, never a game. Never lost. And nobody ever wanted me to play on their team, and so I'll continue that streak forever, huh?
It's imagine what imagination does to you, huh?
Imagination. All right, well, let's stop imagining and get back to this year's team. Flyers have some young players who are on the road but not there yet. Obviously, what they're going to be, early 20s, Tyson Forster, Owen Tippett, Travis Konechny, Cam York, Jamie Drysdale, obviously, hopefully the goalie, Sam Urson. Where do you see this team going, Terry? Do you think this is Danny and Keith have assembled the nucleus of a team? I'm not going to say the Stanley Cup, but they can go a long way with the younger kids, and obviously more on the way?
I think that's what everybody's hoping for. I think you must get it on paper that way. You can never tell that it's going to work out. I think 3 games is nothing. You got to go 10 at least to get a feel for how these guys are going to handle things. And then, last year was a very good year for them, other than, what was it, the last 8 games?
Yeah, they kind of collapsed in the last 8 games.
That playoff experience would have been so good for them, but I'm hoping this year they get that playoff experience, because then you learn something about your players and your lineup, and you can, as a general manager, I'm sure you can work from that much better.
Bernie, I might be mistaken. Terry will correct me because Terry played for him. Mike Keenan used to, or was it Paul Holmgren, used to have the season blocked out into 10-game increments. Was that Keenan or Holmgren, Terry? Do you remember?
Yeah, 10 games, and which is good. Instead of looking at what 82 games or whatever, you concentrate and do your best for those 10 games, and then once you're done with those 10 games, then you look back and you have a meeting with the team, and everybody has to share what they thought they did right, and what they thought they did the wrong things, and then you make the adjustments.
That makes sense, obviously, because you're going to a lot of peaks and valleys. injured guys, a lot of different things. We'll take a look at the Flyers season, maybe where it's going. Home opener is Saturday night. That should be exciting. A lot to talk about with Terry Carkner. I want to find out what he's doing today in Philadelphia. He's one of those guys that stayed around, lives in Philadelphia. Good stuff. Bernie Parent, of course, lives here. Not here at Chickies and Pete's, but in the area, right?
Yes.
Yep. Although you're here at Chickies and Pete's all the time. We were here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington for Bernie's 40th anniversary of his Hall of Fame induction about a month ago. My 40th anniversary, never mind. We'll be back here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington on the ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Right after this, stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles. Make a selection from our seasonal food menu, then unwind with one of our sensational cocktails. The South Philly Sizzle, made with Bird Gang Habanero Tequila. Stateside Pumpkin Pie featuring stateside vodka, rum chata, and pumpkin puree. Delicious fiery sangria, tasty spiced apple punch, or the Campfire Mule. At participating locations for a limited time, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Parent.
Alrighty, back here at Chickies and Pete's, where again you can get $4 garage beer all day, every day. See the manager, Matthew. Enjoy yourself. All kinds of great food here at Chickies and Pete's. Normally, guys, I don't get personal here at Independence Blue Cross on the ice, but my mother doesn't normally turn 93 on the day of a show. So happy birthday, Mom, and many, many more, and hope good things happen.
And by the way, excuse me, she looks fantastic. She
does.
showed me a picture. She really does, yeah.
Yep, she really does. Thank you, Mr. Parent, for that. And Terry Carkner, our guest, the former head coach. Of
Only Bernie could get away with that. I won't say anything, Paul.
Well, you're the former head coach of the Villanova hockey team.
That's a long time ago, too.
How did that happen? And did you have any interest in coaching? Obviously, some.
Yeah, I was kind of, I wanted to take a couple years off after my career ended, and then I just had the opportunity offered to me, and I gave it a shot. So I had a good friend of mine, Ryan McGill, actually said, you're gonna be so bad at it when you first start, you just got to find out if you like it or not.
Did you?
And I was bad at it, but I did like it.
Well, it's like anything. Obviously, you're going to improve along the way. What was the one thing, because obviously you played a long time, you understood from a player's perspective, what's the one thing when you went back behind the bench that you thought, I didn't realize this was so hard or that was so hard? What was that one thing?
It's almost like you're only worried about yourself as a player, and you're right. I thought that because I had played the game that you would understand all the elements and be easy. I would coach it easily. But when you're the coach, you have to worry about all the elements and all the players, and it was such a different element that I never. Trying to worry about every 20 guys instead of just one was a big mental challenge.
Did you ever think I'm going to go to the NHL? All kinds of coaches started in all kinds of ways. Did you think of this as maybe a career, a hobby, something to do for a couple years to try? What was it like when you started?
Not really. I enjoyed the Villanova, and I did some high school, and then I did some girls hockey. I really enjoyed the girls hockey. It was competitive, but I never ventured into an AHL job or put my name into anything like that. So I think those days are by me now.
Bernie, you never coached in the NHL, obviously, because you don't speak English. But other than that,
Could you repeat that, please?
did you ever want to coach? How hard is it for? I mean, a lot of great players don't make great coaches. You've helped a lot of goalies along the way. Mm-hmm. Some goalies have become coaches. Patrick Waugh. Did you have any hopes of coaching in the NHL at one time?
No, never did. I didn't mind. I did some coaching with the goalies. Working with the goalies, but the reason is, as a goalie, okay, you're behind 5 players on the ice. Okay,
that was 4.
And 4, whatever. But you know what? And you have to pay attention. But really, your concentration is on yourself.
Right.
Because you have to study the game, you have to study the players, you have to study your defensemen, and if it's, like I said before, if it's a left-hand shot, a right-hand shot, how they're going to position themselves, where the shot could be coming from, and stuff like this. So you do a lot of thinking that way.
All right, I'm going to ask you a stupid question that I've never asked you before. We've known each other a long time, and I don't know why this came to my mind. Do you think when you play goalie in the NHL, you talk about positioning? Obviously, there's certain positioning that anybody in this room could be properly positioned and the puck will hit them. That's a save. Probably the rebound will be a problem and the rest of the game will be a problem. Do you think more shots in your career hit you or you saved, if you know what I mean? How much is positioning and how much is athleticism and just...
Well, the only ones, all the shots that I received, that I was fortunate, not at the time, but now I'm thinking about it, fortunate that I saved it, was the shot from Bobby Hull. He was clocked at 110, 112 miles an hour,
But if it's straight into you, it doesn't matter.
And you know what, once in a while I would say, my Lord, they would come across the blue line about 30 feet in front of the net, right? Wind up, big smile on his face. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and I said, Lord, let him score, He was dangerous, man. 110, 112 miles an hour.
Yeah. I can drive 112 miles an hour. Terry, I think, can drive 112 miles an hour. Terry, you had a long career, 13 years in the NHL, played here. Why'd you wind up living in Philadelphia? What drew you back?
My experience in Michigan was not. I didn't really enjoy that area as much.
You're from Canada, right? From Ontario?
From Ontario, in the Ottawa area. And then my time in Florida was enjoyable, but too far away from. I didn't feel like living there year round. So I love this area, and I really am happy that I made that decision. I can't remember all the reasons why, but I'm happy I did.
It's good for you and Bernie to win today and walk together forever. Why do so many ex-Flyers, I don't know what other cities are, I'm sure if you're a great player wherever, a lot of teams have ex-players living there, but it seems like more live here than most places. Why is that?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they, I think the crowd, first of all, when
Great
we
fans.
played here, the fans, it's just incredible the way we get treated by the fans here in Philly. They're warm, they're cheerful, they're behind us 100%. When we have a game at home, and it just it's a feeling. It's difficult to explain.
Well, still to this day, Bernie, I'm sure anybody gets a lot of Facebook stuff. Your wife Jeannie is so good with this. You with everybody, every mascot, every event. The fans still love you. Why do they still love you?
Well, because I mention your name once in a while.
That's good.
Yeah.
It'll usually get you. It could get you kicked out too.
I got kicked out a few times too.
Could you? You know him? Get out of here. Hey Ted, we saw 2 fights last night. Sean Couturier fought, captain of the Flyers, and then right after Joel Farabee fought. Who did he fight? Somebody old. Who's the old player on the? I can't remember the. Whatever. I can't remember. But fighting seems like it may be starting to come back a little bit into the NHL, not in playoff situations, but I think it seems like folks out there. Do we think fighting has come back in the league a tiny bit? I think it is. Why would it be if it was? And what was your role in that day when you played? Did you fight a lot?
I guess you're not talking to you, Bernie.
Not
No.
Mr.
Actually,
Carkner.
I'd like to hear you answer real quick though. Was there a few times that you ended up punching a guy with your blocker and stuff like that?
Oh, of course. I have to share a quick story with you. Never forget this. My first game for the Boston Bruins, okay, because Ed Johnson.
1967?
Yeah, Ed Johnson and Jerry Cheevers got hurt, so they called me back. He called me back up, and the game was in Chicago, my first game. And Stan Mikita, would come down and shoot at my head all the time.
Why?
I don't know. Then finally,
Seemed like a nice enough guy.
He knew I was a rookie, probably. And then I told him, I said, hey, I'm getting the hint, And he said, I'll let you know when I'm done. All right? Next time he comes down, true story, he comes down and glazed my mask, and big smile on his face. Okay, I didn't say anything. 5 minutes later, he's standing in front of the net to screen me, shot from the blue line. True story. I took my stick, broke his knee, and that
Broke
was the
his
end of
knee?
it. Yeah, broke his leg, and that was the end of
Broke
it.
his, was he out for the year?
Yeah. No, just he came back a couple of months later, but I broke his leg. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And you know what?
Hannibal Lecter here.
You know the beauty about this? He never shot my head again.
Yeah. Certain things. Terry, did you ever beat a guy up so bad they never touched you again?
No. That's a bad question, Paul.
Why?
Don't ask me that. Because I didn't.
You were a good
that never
fighter.
happened. I survived anyways.
Of course he was.
But hold on. I got to say,
Okay.
your first game in the NHL was Chicago, in Chicago Stadium?
Yeah.
Well, I got something in common with Bernie Parent. That's awesome.
Both
It's a
you had
good
your
day.
first game at Chicago Stadium?
Yeah, my first game was in Chicago, so that's...
Against who?
I like that.
Remember who you played? Chicago Blackhawks. No, who are you playing for? Not.
Oh,
Doug.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was with the Rangers.
All right. How many times, Terry, you played 13 years in the NHL? And I know the answer to this. I've looked it up, done my research, done my preparation. How many times in the NHL did you get over 100 penalty minutes in those 13 years?
Ooh, 5.
8.
Okay.
Penalty minutes seem to be going down these days.
I didn't win the fight, so I can't remember what the
How
number
many?
is.
Yeah.
50 minors for roughing,
Yep.
20 fights, some combination thereof. What's the most penalty minutes you ever got in here, Bernie? You ever remember? You never got a major, but do you ever get...
That first game against Mikito.
There's-
And I you know what? My philosophy was always let the defenseman take care of it.
I'll tell you what.
It's very important.
There's a guy in the NHL now. There's a very, very interesting story. He's a referee. His name is Cody Beach. He's a second-year ref. And his brother was Kyle Beach, or is Kyle Beach, who unfortunately was the guy that was with the Black Aces in the playoffs. The Chicago Blackhawks was sexually assaulted, and it led to that everything, blah, 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 blah. Cody Beach was a minor league hockey player who was very good, a fighter, an absolute maniac, apparently, who was just a crazy man in the minors. And then he left hockey, Terry, and became an NHL referee. Obviously, there's a process to this. He said as his first referee camp, he apologized to some of these guys and said, I've been a thorn in your side for years, now I'm one of you. Did you ever, didn't Paul Stewart was a fighter, he became a referee. You ever think of maybe doing that? Or was this just a couple guys outside the box?
We used to do it. We had 3 boys in our family, and my dad kind of made us referee for money, but also the experience.
Interesting.
And you start to realize how tough it is to be a referee and that dynamic. It's almost the same as coaching, how different it is. But yeah,
What's the toughest part?
It's just trying to, pay attention to the game on a level of, and when the games get heated, then you have to try and call a few more penalties and stuff like that.
It's interesting because we always hear about it in every sport, and it happens. If you ask referees, they'll tell you, maybe off the record, maybe not on the record, but referees are human. And if you make a bad call, your general instinct is to make a makeup call that doesn't cost anybody a goal or whatever, but evens the slate. Do you think referees, Bernie, Terry, make makeup calls? And did you ever have the urge to make one as a as a ref in the backyard, Terry?
No, the only problem I had was the first year, my first game with San Mikito, and that's it.
And you broke his leg.
And then I said, I had said little prayer, and God said, have your defenseman take care of it from now on.
All right.
So that's
You ever remember a makeup call, Terry, with you where you really didn't do anything, but he made a bad call on the other team and got you for nothing, and you're skating off the ice wondering what the hell you just did?
I think there's no way of taking the human nature out of refereeing. Like, maybe the guys that are really experienced, there's a little less of it, but I think it's totally a part of it. And it's what makes sports great, is that element of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Plus, you know what? It's such a fast game, too. You know, things happen quickly.
I'll tell you a quick story before we go to our last break. Kerry Fraser, I ask every referee, I know I have a couple friends in the NHL who are referees who are good friends of mine. So I've kind of met everybody and asked every ref in every sport that I know, what's the worst call you ever made? And you would think they don't want to answer the question. They're always anxious to answer that question. Kerry Fraser, who we all know, the helmet head ref, refed a billion games, great guy, lives in Philly, has been on this show, hopefully be on this show this year. He was refereeing a game in Montreal, and he said there was a penalty on one of the Montreal defensemen. And he put his arm up for hooking, whatever it is, and then they kept the puck. In the NHL, when you keep the puck, you don't call the penalty until the other team takes possession or they score. Well, this apparently went on forever. Montreal kept the play forever. Kerry's thinking, he forgot who he called the penalty on. He forgot which defenseman. Mm-hmm. So now the play ends, and he's a senior referee. He goes, 22 red, 2 minutes for hooking, get out of here. Guy's like, what? I didn't do anything. He goes, you get a sixth sense, Terry and Bernie. It was so genuine the way he said that he knew he didn't do anything. He says to his partner, 24, 2 minutes for hooking, guy left the ice. Mm-hmm. Hockey has funny stories too. And we'll be back. We have our Smart Stat of the Week and much, much more. People here enjoying themselves, enjoying fries and all kinds of good stuff. $40 garage beer all day, every day here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington. Final segment coming up right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles. We're teaming up with Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown for a new wing flavor this football season, A.J. Brown's Sweet Heat Wings. We combine the sweet and spicy flavors A.J. loves, plus a portion of the proceeds benefit the A.J. Brown Foundation, and it's focused on empowering underprivileged youth. At participating locations for a limited time, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Parent.
Alrighty, we're happy to be here every week. We do 6 to 7 on Wednesdays. We're on the ice. We are at Chickies and Pete's in Drexel Hill next week. Football-wise, our Monday night kickoff, me and Paul Domwich at the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. John Spagnola, Eagle tight end in the first Super Bowl the Eagles played in, Super Bowl 15. We'll be there next week. It's time now for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Last season, the power play was horrible, 12.2%, bottom of the NHL. This season, off to a fast start, 10th in the NHL, 26.7%, led by Matvei Michkov, who got 2 power play goals last night. That was your Flyers Smart Stat of the Week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions, catering to small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. With Terry Carkner, our co-host Bernie Parent. Guys, Brad Marsh, our other co-host, does not want this to happen. Terry, I'm interested in your point of view on this. Alex Ovechkin starts this year. He doesn't have a goal yet this year. 853 goals. 41 short of Gretzky's 894. A lot of people, he's going to play till he breaks the record, assuming he doesn't get hurt. It's going to happen. Guys, do you want him to break the record or not? Terry, you first.
If I was Gretzky, I wouldn't want him to break my record. That's an amazing record. But, yeah, I think with the percentage, however you look at it, he's going to break it.
But people see Bernie Ovechkin as someone who's a selfish player. A lot of people. Brad can speak for himself, obviously, but he really doesn't want the record to be held by a guy that's more of a selfish player. Gretzky, obviously, the ultimate everything. How do you feel about this?
Well, you know what? I'm looking myself as a goaltender. You know, if I have so many wins in 1 year, you know, and this one guy comes along and beats my record or whatever, you know what? Good for him. You know, good for him. I'm happy when something good happens to somebody, you know, be happy for him, you know.
Records are made to be broken.
If this guy is going to beat this Gretzky's record, good for him. You know, I love Gretzky. You know,
sure, everybody loves Gretzky.
And but if somebody has a chance to move on with different time in his career, to move on and break a record, why not?
All right, Terry, you played a long time, most of it, and maybe all of it, in the Gretzky era. You got a Gretzky story for us? Or am I putting you on the spot here? I didn't mean to do that.
No, I was going to say I agree with Bernie. That's a perfect point. And I was impressed with how Gordie Howe handled Wayne breaking his records. Yeah, and that really, I really noticed that and thought about what good people those guys are. They're so good hockey players, and yet, like Bernie says, they're just happy. Like he was he was right there with Wayne the whole time and really handled it well. So that makes me think now about Wayne. I know Wayne's going to handle it in an awesome way, and all if any of those other records get broken. So yeah.
Well, he's 1,000 points ahead in the points race. I don't see that one going away anytime soon.
Correct.
Did you have any interaction with him? Obviously you did, but anything memorable on the ice?
With Wayne?
Yep.
I tried to hit him once, and then I had to fight McClellan like the next shift. So
yeah, the bodyguard. I mean, he had Semenko, McSorley, McClellan.
Yep, they can't. There was no part of that. I didn't hit him. I missed him. I completely missed him. But
well, there's a great Gretzky story. It was in Sports Illustrated once. Gretzky's playing some night against Detroit, whatever, and it was very hard to hit Gretzky. He wasn't the fastest guy, wasn't the strongest guy, but apparently it was like liquid mercury, just very hard, like Barry Sanders, to get a shot on. So somebody from Detroit one night crushed Gretzky into the boards, and Gretzky slumped to the ice, and the guy skates over to his bench. He thought guys would be pounding their sticks and all happy. They're all looking at him like he's Hannibal Lecter. He didn't know what was going on, so he goes on the bench. Gretzky somehow drags himself up, misses his shift. The next shift, skates by the bench, looks right at this guy, skates the puck down the ice by himself, roofs the net, skates back to him, looks at him, gives the high fist, and his coach says to him, "Don't ever do that again." Don't wake the bear, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff. All right, the power play, guys. We just did the smart stat of the week. Power play was horrible last year, whether it was last or next to last, whatever. This year, Michkov is invigorated. Luchenko, a lot of these young kids, Tippett, Forster, Konechny. What do you think about the Flyers' power play, Terry, and how important is it to have a good power play? Because last year it really hurt them.
Yeah, I think maybe the health of the team that would be a part where certain guys you can replace, but when you have say they get their power play going and it stays around You said 26%, I think.
Yeah, that's great.
But, you know, I'm not sure of the main 5 guys, but maybe it's Drysdale or maybe it's, you know, Beachcoff up front. If one of those guys gets hurt, then that throws the wrench into, you know, nobody can really cover or learn that dynamic of pass and wear and timing and stuff. So I think the health, that's something where the health of the team, hopefully it stays together and those keep that power play up.
Bernie, how hard was it to defend a really good power play?
No, and guys would shoot and say, "Look what I found." That wasn't my glove. Yeah,
All the time, right?
They
And you were on the PK a few times during your career with the Bullies, right?
well, you know what? Yeah, we did, but at the same time, we played like we were like it was a 4-on-4. You know, the guys were so disciplined. You know, Fred Chiro had a great system, and you know what? When we ended up with the men short, we never got excited or whatever. You know, you just play your position, you know, and it was very, very important. And the confidence we had in ourselves, and I'm talking about the forward, the defense, you know, the whole bit was was incredible. So hey, you had a game, you took a lot of penalties, fine. We had a meeting and said, hey, next time, boys, if we came out winning, for example, next time, boys, let's bring this down. So we won't always be that lucky. Yeah.
Our final question of the evening, they always say in law, ask a question that you know the answer to already before you ask it. So I'm going to ask Terry Carkner, our guest tonight, who's done a fantastic job on short notice, and we really thank him. A leading question. Terry obviously never played with Bernie. You played with some very good goaltenders. Did you play with Pele at all?
No.
Hexie?
Yeah.
What would it have been like, do you think, to play with the man who might have been the greatest goalie of all time?
The gentleman to my right?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know. I think he would have been yelling at me a lot.
In what language?
You heard him describing the way that he wanted to keep a guy on the outside, so he knew they were going to shoot to the glove, and I had to mess that up.
Did you curse in French or English?
I really love the French language when they get angry. I got to tell you, that's the best part of the French language.
It's terrific.
I was yelling so much I can't talk anymore.
Did you yell at guys when a guy made a bad play and you got beat for a goal?
Never.
You knew it was his fault.
Never. We're a team. We work as a team because I made some mistakes and guys look at me and said, "Oh my God," So we understood each other.
It is. It's part of a team. You're going to make bad plays. They're going to make bad plays.
Yeah,
you realize that you got to cover up for each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff, guys. Really enjoyed it tonight. We always have a great time. Terry Carkner is a great guest. We wish you luck, Terry, in your endeavors.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's always fun.
He looks like a movie star. He should be in Hollywood, for God's sakes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Good looking guy. Yeah, awesome.
13 years in the NHL. 13 Johnny Gaudreau last night. It's a number that's been bandied about a little bit, and may Johnny Gaudreau, of course, and his brother Matt rest in peace. Bernie, thanks for being here. Let's do it again next week at Drexel Hill.
Yeah, definitely.
And Terry Carkner, you are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All righty.
I wish I would have had him. We had great defensemen, but I wish I would have had him on defense.
There we are. A lot of defensemen.
Good man. You know what? A great individual, but also a great player. You know what? You can't deny this.
Well, what I say about you all the time, Bernie Parent, great player, better person. From what I know of Terry, I don't know if Terry as well as I know you, terrific player, better person. And that's a good thing. Also a good person, Brianne O'Neill produced this fine program. Stephen Lawler, who's a great person, back at the station for WBCB, for Bernie Parent and Terry Carkner. Chickies and Pete's here at Warrington. We can get $4 garage beer all day. See the manager, Matthew. We appreciate that. Everybody coming and everybody listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. We'll be back here next week. Flyers home opener Saturday. Rick Tocken in town, Craig Berube in the NHL. Hockey's fun all year. Go Flyers, everybody.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB and on your FM dial at 107.3 W297CL Levittown.
The Crown